Alright, back for match number 2 with mono red. This hand is very iffy, but I'm going to keep it because I have 2 1-drops and 2-drop that can help guarantee that I get more lands, which is Magma Jet, so I can scry for lands, obviously. Not very often that you keep a hand with 1 land and Inferno Titan, but we're going to go for it here, and luckily we draw a land. So we'll play our Jackalpup first, in case he plays something I don't want to attack my Tattermunge Maniac into, like Augur of Bolas or something. Alright, he just goes with Treetop Village and passes, however. Alright, we get our lands. So I'll just, I could Magma Jet here, but I actually don't need to right now since I drew into lands. So I think I just go with Hellspark and get him down to 15. And I have the Lightning Mauler sitting in the wings, waiting to hopefully pounce an Inferno Titan on his unsuspecting prey. Wake Thrasher seems like a very, very overpowered card to me. I'm not sure why, but permanents count lands as well, right? And also I think it has an infinite combo with Basalt Monolith in this cube, but I'm not totally sure. Nonetheless, I will kill it now before it gets massive. I get 2 lands, which I actually do want. So I choose to keep them both on top. Doesn't really matter which one is which because I don't really have anything beyond 2 mana to play anyway, so I don't need the basic mountain right away. And if I need to draw into some action, I can choose to crack my fetch and improve my chances infinitely by not drawing a land the turn after the Arid Mesa. He morphs a creature, which could be scary, but don't really know. I haven't played with Morph very much. I wasn't around for that set. I'll just play my land. I could go with the Lightning Mauler and trade off for his Morph guy, but I choose to just go with the Tattermunge Maniac post-combat because I do want to keep my Lightning Mauler around for the Inferno Titan. So the plan right now is next turn to crack both my fetches and play Prophetic Bolt, or at least leave it open, and then Inferno Titan the turn following that. Alright, so yeah, we'll get a basic mountain and steam vents, and possibly Prophetic Bolt his morph guy. Obviously paying 2 life. I could do it pre-combat on his morph guy, but if he played something that has more than 4 toughness on the flip side, that could be bad for me. Alright, so pre-combat he goes with morph, and he gets a Felonite Hermit, which puts 4 1/1s into play, which is pretty good for him. And they're actually 2/2s as long as he's around, so I could choose to Prophetic Bolt, but really it would only protect me from 1 damage because if he blocks Jackalpup he's doing 2 damage, but I could reduce it to a 1/1 and make it just 1 damage to myself, but as I said before, mono red really doesn't care about their own life total. So I choose to actually, I could play it safe and go Prophetic Bolt and guarantee the Inferno Titan next turn. But I want to go for it all and go with Lightning Mauler and hopefully sneak attack at Inferno Titan next turn, if you will. Get 6 damage off it, wipe his board, and then win the game. Seems pretty strong. Alright, so he goes Edric, which is very good for him. Which means he's going to draw a bunch of cards. Activates his village, and although I do want to block because it's starting to look like I could lose in the next turn or so, I do very much need to go with my gut, go with my prior plan, play Inferno Titan next turn. So he's going to draw 3 cards, which is too bad, but he is tapped out, so if I draw a land it's pretty much game over. And I do have some protection with the Prophetic Bolt even if I don't draw a land, and I'll have a guaranteed win the turn after. Alright, we don't draw a land. We do draw a Lightning Bolt. I can go pre-combat or pre his turn Prophetic Bolt, and hopefully get a land for Lightning Bolt. So yeah, I'll kill his Edric. And hopefully we get one of our lands, and we do. Yeah, obviously not taking any of the other cards, so put those on the bottom. Play our land, hold up Lightning Bolt, and I could get in, but again I'm playing it safe because I don't want to lose my Lightning Mauler, because I have the win on board next turn, which he doesn't know yet. So yeah, my plan is just a Lightning Bolt his Treetop Village if he tries to get in, and then after he attacks, just win turn after. Alright, as expected. So we're just going to snap kill that thing as soon as he goes to combat. Alright, he has no counter for that, which is fine. It didn't really matter if he did or not, although he doesn't have lethal anymore. But he'll get in for 3. And he plays a Lutorial Core, which is fine. I can't think of anything for 2 mana he can play except for that, because now he just wins the game. So that's an example of how you use Time Walk properly. Yeah, if not for the Power 9, I would have won that game pretty handily. But yeah, going on to game 3, I don't know if there's, or game 2 rather, I don't know if there's anything I want except probably Fire Spout for all his little dudes. And probably Earthquake instead, actually, because that does damage the players as well. And to take out for it, I'll take out probably one of my other land removal spells, because I didn't really see anything worth worrying about. But yeah, Ruin Blaster is probably better than Avalanche Riders, because we already saw someone else has the Inquisition of Kozilek, and we can Bloodbraid into the Goblin. But this hand's pretty much a snap keep. We just need to draw one of our fetch lands to get Bloodbraid on turn 4. There's a pretty high probability when we only have a 40 card deck and we have 3 fetches. Yeah, I could Lightning Bolt him here, be more efficient with my mana, but yep, as expected, we get one of our fetch lands. We'll just play a Lightning Mauler, unpaired. We don't even have to pair it to Bloodbraid Elf, because it already has haste. We could cascade into like a Tattermunge Maniac or something. Alright, so he plays that guy, which is fine. I could Lightning Bolt it, and I most likely will because I can't block it, and it's a looter. And as an added bonus, we get a Hellspark Elemental. So we do get into, or we do get to get in for 5. Clearly not pairing, even though it doesn't really matter, because it's just going to die anyway, lose the Soul Bond. So yep, we're just going to Bloodbraid next turn. Hopefully he doesn't play anything worth worrying about. Alright, he goes main phase Brainstorm, which is good news for me, because that means he doesn't have a land in hand. But I'll most likely find one now. Brainstorm's actually not that great for finding lands, because it means your next 2 draws are not going to be lands, so he's pretty much stuck on 3 mana for the next 2 turns. Unless he finds 2 lands, which is, I guess, fine. Or 3 of them, rather. So yeah, he chooses to play a land, but he has no blue, so I don't have to worry about counters. So yeah, that was a very good draw as well. That means I can get him pretty close to dead, especially if I draw a haste guy. Doesn't even have to be a haste guy off of Cascade, because I have the Lightning Mauler in play. So yeah, there's a very high probability I could win here. Alright, I get pretty close. I get him down to 10, attack him to 5, which means Fire Blast will get him to 1. So yeah, it's looking pretty near unbeatable, or unwinnable for him now. Not pairing in case I draw something I want to hasty, or make hasty. At the very least, if he clears my board, I have him dead to Chandra plus Fire Blast if I draw a land. But pretty much any draw here is good for me. Can't think of any draw that would be bad, except for maybe Prophetic Bolt. Alright, he gets an Ancient Tomb, which gets him actually dead right now, thanks to Fire Blast. And thanks to how broken Fire Blast is. You could force spike it, but nope. We just win, and we would have won with Chandra next turn anyway, even if we didn't do that. So yeah, we'll not bring in anything because we didn't see anything else worth sideboarding against. So we'll just go to game 3. We're on the draw, but we have a 1-drop. We have several 1-drops and a 2-drop, so this hand's worth keeping. He keeps his 7 as well. Goes with the tap land, which is fine. Alright, I could go, alright, we'll go with, yeah, I'm thinking about Goblin Guide versus Jackal Pup. I go with the Jackal Pup because that's one less turn, one less chance he'll have to get a land off of Goblin Guide. And he doesn't play anything, so it doesn't matter, unless he has like the Mana Leak. Alright, luckily we don't have to crack our fetches right away. So now I get to go Goblin Guide and then post-combat Rakdos Cackler. Hoping he doesn't get anything off of Guide. Oh, unfortunately he got one of the best lands in his deck. But nonetheless, we'll continue to flood the board. Although, sadly, Earthquake is not a good card to have in our hand right now with all these 1 and 2 toughness creatures. But luckily it means he doesn't have it in his deck. Fortunately, Ancient Tomb is not very good against me. It does ramp him up an extra turn, but he doesn't really want to be taking any damage off of his own spells. He definitely thinks about it for a while. He goes with Monolith, which is the combo I mentioned earlier with the dude that gets +1/+1 counter whenever one of his permanents untaps. Because Monolith can tap and untap itself indefinitely. We continue drawing basic lands, which is not too bad when you have Earthquake. But my plan is just to go War Marshal, post-combat, and then end of turn crack my fetch for a Steam or a Stomping Ground. So he's at 10. I'm gonna have him at something like 3 if he doesn't play anything else, but that's unlikely because now he has possibly 8 mana at his disposal with the Ancient Tomb and a full 7 cards in hand. Definitely weighing his options, deciding if he wants to Ancient Tomb most likely, because then that would give me close to lethal. Give me exactly lethal if he does nothing. Thinks about it for a while. I'll pause it. He goes with Oracle of Moldiah, revealing Dust Bowl, which he'll most likely play. Plays a Vine Lasher Kudzu. Play a land from his hand, which means Goblin Guide's actually going to be good for him because he knows that he's going to get a land off of Oracle. And Goblin Guide, obviously that just means he's going to draw a card guaranteed. So now I'm just hoping to draw my Bloodbraid Elf. So end of turn I'll just go get my Stomping Ground without having to pay any life for it, other than the Arid Mesa, of course. And I'm not going to pay the Echo cost because I have enough stuff to do with my mana as it is. Just means that he's gaining an extra life basically, which is fine because I'm gaining 2 mana. Alright, that draw was fine, I guess. If I get one more land, I can play that and basically kill him. Alright, so yeah, I could go either Mountain or Steam Vents tapped here, depending on how much damage he takes, and I could Earthquake. He still has Dust Bowl on top of his library, which means he's drawing a card, but that's not enough incentive to make me hold back my Goblin Guide, because I don't want him to amass a board. I'd rather just make him lose all of his guys, and then possibly Earthquake if he starts amassing a presence again. Alright, so he gets his Dust Bowl to hand. And I failed to look again to see what he gets, but that's okay. I still have 5 power on the board. I have him dead to Earthquake if he doesn't play enough creatures. I'll just play my Steam Vents tapped. So now any number of things do it for him. Right, he goes down to 5 to untap his Monolith, which is risky, but probably a risk he has to take at this point. He's thinking about it. He could destroy my Stomping Ground with Dust Bowl, so I can never Bloodbraid again this game. Ooh, and he goes with an Entwined Tooth and Nail, which means he could get 2 things, hopefully not an Elesh Norn, or this game could get very difficult for me. But more likely, I just don't want him to get anything that prevents me from Earthquaking next turn or gain some life, because I do have him dead to Earthquake next turn. So something like Woodfall Primus plus Clone would be bad for me, because it means I wouldn't have lethal next turn. So he goes with Woodfall Primus and Simic Sky Swallower, which is fine, because the only thing he does is loses me, or gets me out of 1 mana, but he's still dead to Earthquake. None of his guys have any kind of lifelink effect, anything like that. And we get a Bloodbraid Elf, but clearly we're not going to play that. We're just going to go the safe route and play Earthquake. Because if I played Bloodbraid and didn't whiffed on the Cascade, that means he would survive this turn and have another chance to either kill me or, you know, try to stabilize, which is not what I want. But here he's just dead to Earthquake. All I need to do now is Earthquake for 2. Do it for 3 just to be safe. I know he doesn't have Force Spike. And yeah, that did it. And now we'll just go on to the finals.